Hi everyone, this is our channel, Meet the Real Story. Please like, share and subscribe.
End of the world scenarios are presented in a lot of Hollywood movies: zombie apocalypses, alien invasions, meteor collisions, monstrous solar flares, premature ice ages, and worldwide deadly virus outbreaks. The last one is the one I used to imagine: a deadly viral outbreak that spread all over the world and wiped out humankind. My name is Rita, and I'm 21 years old. And as you can see from my introductory paragraph, I have an active imagination. I'm in my senior year at med school, on my way to becoming a doctor. My parents died in a car accident, which left me responsible for raising my younger brother. Our aunts and uncles lived in another city, so they couldn't really help us much. It was up to me to nurture good habits in him regarding food, health, and education. I had to find work after my parents died, so I got a job at the hospital, where all the doctors predicted that I would have a bright future ahead of me. One day, the hospital director called me into his office and told me that I had won a scholarship to study and work in China. I was so happy. I'll get to work and study abroad in a foreign culture, but that meant that my brother would have to come along. So, we went to China, and we got an apartment near the hospital I was supposed to work. China was a beautiful country. All the people worked diligently. The area I was in was exceptionally clean, and all our neighbors were very kind. China was one of the most powerful industrial countries in the world. The only obstacle I faced there was finding suitable food to eat. The Chinese people ate practically anything that moved: dogs, cats, snakes, scorpions. Ugh, disgusting. But when I heard that they ate bats, I threw up all night. During my studies, I knew that China had a lot of rare illnesses, but I never imagined that I would encounter any while I was there. One day, our hospital received a case with strange symptoms. After many diagnostic tests, we still couldn't figure out what the affliction was. The patient had a fever and a very bad cough. His respiratory system was in severe distress, so we put him in the intensive care. Shortly after, we began receiving an influx of patients with the same symptoms, a red flag that an epidemic was probably already on the way, and my brother and I were right in the middle of it. What a nightmare! Soon afterwards, my brother fell ill. That's where I drew the line. If an apocalypse was coming, I wasn't quite ready for it yet. So we left China and returned home. Thousands of people died in China due to that rare disease, but thankfully, my brother recovered fully and is now okay. As for me, I shifted my studies to seeking out a cure for this new coronavirus that broke out in China.
Most people dream of being rich and famous with a happy family, a prestigious job, and a huge villa. Achieving these dreams needs patience and hard work. I'm not interested in the meaning or value of a job itself. The only thing I care about is the salary it pays. I want my dream job to pay a high salary. That's all I ask. My name is Raji, and I am 21 years old. I have had only one dream my whole life: to be rich and to have a prestigious, high paying job. It has been my dream since I was a boy because I don't want to waste my time in a low paying job. I searched the newspaper for jobs with a good salary, any kind of job. One day, I found a catchy advertisement: elderly companion needed. The caregiver salary was quite good, and it seemed like an easy job, so I went to the interview. The interview session made me feel a little uneasy. I tried to remain calm by focusing on that nice salary the job paid. The interviewer was an old man, who even introduced me to his sons. He said that I have to take care of their invalid father, feeding him, changing his bed sheets, and giving him his medications. They were about to show me a list of the job duties, but I interrupted them before they could finish their sales spiel. "I'll take it," I stated simply and directly. They stood there with their mouths opened and then shrugged their shoulders. Okay, I got the job. So I lived there with their father, I'll call him the old man, in his villa. I sometimes felt that there was someone else there with us, but maybe I was just seeing shadows. The man himself was somewhat queer. I would sometimes wake up to find him looking at me intently and smiling strangely. One early morning, at like 3 a.m., I heard a noise and went to his room, only to find his bed empty. Strange. Then suddenly, I sensed someone behind me, and I turned around quickly to see him holding a knife. He tried to attack me, but I managed to fend him off and pushed him away. Then I dashed out of the villa. I never came back. I told myself I didn't want to die on my dream job. Failing at my first attempt to find my dream job didn't stop me from trying again. I soon found a new one, which was an assistant clothes designer. The salary was even better than the last job. I went to the interview, and the interviewer, the clothes designer himself, seemed a little odd. I couldn't discern his, her, its gender because it had long hair and a soft voice, but on balance, I decided to call it a man. I told myself that I shouldn't judge people from their appearance, so I started my new job as his assistant. I told him that I was enthusiastic about the job, but I got the heebie-jeebies when he suddenly took my hand in his and just held it while looking at me. Was this guy homosexual? I wondered. I decided to ignore his odd behavior. It's all about the salary, you know. I have to say that he was very good at his work, and I met a lot of celebrities while working in his workshop. One day, our workload was particularly heavy due to an international festival in town. I was tidying up a new dress when he suddenly put his hand on the small of my back and asked me if I want to lie down with him. That heebie-jeebies feeling suddenly returned, and I pushed him away and dashed out the door while shouting back, "I suspected you might try that from the beginning, but I ignored my premonitions. Bye!" He called after me and said that I didn't know what I was missing, but I shouted back that I would live without it. Back to the want ads to look for another dream job. I searched for a few months before coming upon another job as a coffee bean collector. The salary was even better than the last job, so I was perfectly happy with that. I went to the interview. This time, the interviewer seemed to be a normal, welcoming kind of guy. "I hope you are ready to take this job," he said. "I surely am. I'm enthusiastic about it," I said. He explained the job duties. I had to collect coffee beans, wash and clean them, and put them in sacks for transporting. He said that I had to sign a legal contract that I couldn't break or get out of before its end date. "I am totally ready," I said. "Where do I sign?" He smiled kindly and escorted me to his office. I signed the contract without even reading it. It's all about the salary, you know. I couldn't wait to start putting away that high salary so I could start getting rich. He led me to the work area. While walking, I was imagining gently picking those fragrant coffee beans in those sunny, wide open fields. Boy, was I surprised when we stopped where a small herd of elephants were standing idly, swinging their tails and trunks back and forth. Some laborers were standing beside them, knee-deep in elephant poop and hand-picking coffee beans out of it, and putting the beans into sacks. I turned back to look at the hiring interviewer. He was guffawing and said, "Sorry, pal, you signed the contract. Too late to back out now." Then he walked away, still laughing. Please, God, don't let this be my dream job.
Hi, my name is Selena. I'm 19 years old, and I'm just crazy about basketball. I follow all the sports news, the star players, and the league statistics. I know the names of all the famous players around the world. My friends were amused by this because their interests ran more towards makeup, fashion, singers, and movie stars. I thought those girl things were just outright vain, shallow, frivolous, and downright silly to tell the truth. The college's basketball team coach was forced to take leave due to a chronic illness, leaving the team without a coach. Due to my high school reputation and widely recognized basketball expertise, I was asked if I wanted to serve as the basketball team's temporary coach. I had always dreamed of someday becoming a coach for a famous basketball team, so I jumped at the opportunity. School leagues presented opportunities for players to show what they've got and maybe get scouted by a professional league team. It was also my chance to start as a college basketball coach. By studying the opposing team's previous games, I analyzed their strategies and learned their strengths and weaknesses. I was able to excel and drive my team to an undefeated streak of winnings. We won the college league championship. I was selected to train a team in a professional league with another famous coach. It was an incredible opportunity for me to up my game a notch. During this time, I met an opposing team's coach named Jacob, who was something of a genius when it came to winning basketball strategies. He shared the same dreams as mine. He bragged that his team was better than mine. Well, I couldn't ignore the gauntlet he threw at my feet, so I challenged him to a game. My team against his, in the upcoming season, and may the best team win. If my team won, he would acknowledge me as a superior coach, and vice versa. The season began, and both our teams began beating all our opponents. I used these victories to hone my coaching skills to the next level. Both our teams were undefeated until the day we were to face each other in a championship game. The game began, and both teams played hard. We stayed closely matched the entire game. In the final few seconds of play, one of their players got past our defense. He scored a buzzer beat. I was crushed and began to cry, but my team's fans in the stadium broke into a loud applause. They began chanting my name, acknowledging that I have given them a great competitive, entertaining game. Jacob came over to me. I figured he came to gloat, but instead he got down on one knee and presented me with an engagement ring. I was in shock. The stadium cheered even louder. I may have lost the game that day, but for some reason I felt like a winner.